HPD Rental Subsidy Move Briefing. Welcome to the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development Move Briefing. This presentation will help you understand the steps you need to take to move successfully with your rental subsidy. By the end of this session, you'll know your responsibilities, voucher expiration, processing times, and how to avoid common issues during your move process. Why is it important to watch or listen to this briefing? Federal regulations require HPD to provide families with the information they need to successfully move with their rental subsidy. After this briefing, you must sign and date the certification of move briefing completion within 15 days to confirm that you understand the material. This is necessary to receive your move voucher and search for housing. Important rules about the move process. Before starting your move, remember, you must follow HPD's deadlines and requirements. Don't move out before HPD approves your new home. Always communicate with HPD if your circumstances change. Continue to follow your family obligations under the subsidy. These rules are in place to protect your subsidy and ensure your move goes smoothly. Summary of a successful move. A successful move requires you to certify completion of the briefing, sign a voucher, and receive an executed voucher and owner package letter. With your active voucher, search for a new apartment during the voucher term and submit an owner package before your voucher expires. HPD will review the package to approve the rent, and upon a passed inspection, you will receive a notice of HPD approval to move with rental assistance, and the owner will receive a HAP contract to sign and return to HPD with a matching lease. You can move in on the approved date. HPD will begin paying the new owner HAP. Moves with special circumstances. If you're a victim of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, you may request a move or other accommodations under the Violence Against Women Act, known as VAWA. If you have a disability and need an accommodation, like extra time or a larger unit, you can submit a reasonable accommodation request. Forms are on the HPD website or available at 100 Gold Street. Required moves. Sometimes HPD requires a family to move. For example, if your current home no longer meets program or federal requirements. If you receive a required mover notice, you must complete your move during your voucher term or extension. You will be issued a statement of family responsibilities regarding a required move to explain how to comply. Failure to move could lead to termination of your subsidy. If you are required to move due to failures in your apartment, but the failures are resolved, you are no longer required to move. It is important to respond to and follow the required mover process until HPD confirms you are no longer in this status. The Move Voucher. Once you complete this briefing and return your signed certification, HPD will issue your move voucher. Your voucher lists your approved voucher size, expiration date, and your responsibilities. You can begin your housing search once HPD countersigns the voucher and returns it to you. Voucher size versus unit size. Your voucher size is the number of bedrooms your family qualifies for based on your household composition. The unit size is the number of bedrooms in the apartment you choose. How HPD determines your voucher size. HPD calculates your voucher size based on the number of people and relationships in your household. Spouses or partners share a bedroom. This formula ensures families receive the right size voucher for their needs. How much rent will your voucher cover? The payment standard sets the maximum rent, including utilities, that your voucher can cover. The lower of the unit size or the voucher size will determine what payment standard is applied. HPD also uses exception payment standards allowing higher rents in certain zip codes. Check current payment standards on HPD's website using the lookup tool. Finding an affordable unit. When searching for housing, aim for a total rent including utilities at or below your payment standard. If the rent is higher, HPD will review affordability for your household. Your share cannot exceed 40% of your adjusted monthly income. Finding an appropriately sized unit. You may choose a smaller unit than your voucher size if it's not overcrowded. No more than 2 people per sleeping room. Living rooms count as sleeping rooms, but HPD cannot approve overcrowded units. For example, if you were living in a 1 bedroom apartment with a living room, you would become overcrowded at 5 people. If your current home is overcrowded, you will be notified by HPD that you are a required mover and must find an appropriately sized unit or make changes to your household composition. Searching for housing. Use these resources: affordablehousing.com, New York City Housing Connect, and New York City Housing Resource Portal. Remember, discrimination based on source of income, including vouchers, is illegal. Contact the New York City Commission on Human Rights if you experience source of income discrimination. Email scam alert. HPD will never ask you for money to find or approve housing. Always check that emails come from at hpd.nyc.gov. Do not respond to suspicious messages. Report them immediately to HPD. The owner package. When you receive your executed voucher, HPD also gives you an owner package invitation letter. When you find housing that you want to rent, present the invitation letter to the owner. The owner will use that letter to assess the owner package and complete it for review and processing. Owners can submit through the DTR owner portal or email s8landlords@hpd.nyc.gov. What if your voucher expires? If you don't find housing before your voucher expires, you can start the move process over again by submitting a new move request after a year from the date you were issued a voucher. If you have a disability or are experiencing domestic violence, submit an accommodation request before expiration. HPD will notify you if your extension is approved. Required movers, voucher expiration. If you're a required mover and your voucher expires before you submit an owner package, your subsidy may end. If you are a required mover due to HQS failures and repairs are completed and your unit passes reinspection, you may no longer need to move. Contact HPD with any updates. Leasing. Once HPD inspects and approves your new unit, HPD will send the owner a HAP contract. Notify your current landlord the final HAP notice stating you are approved to move and payments will end. You will receive a notice of HPD approval to move indicating the date you can move. You can use this notice to request moving assistance from HRA. Leasing final steps. The lease and HAP contract must be signed and returned within 30 days of issuance. It may take up to 3 months for payments to begin, but the owner will receive all back payments that may be due. The owner should provide you with keys and access to move in on the approved move date. When HPD has received the contract and lease, HPD issues a rent breakdown letter to you and the owner. Moving outside of New York City. You can move outside of New York City with portability. You must pick an agency within Housing Choice Voucher Program and provide the information to HPD. HPD will send your paperwork to the new housing authority. That agency will brief you, issue their voucher to start your housing search process with their agency. Key takeaways. Always get HPD approval before moving. Submit your owner package before your voucher expires. Make sure your unit passes inspection. If you do move without HPD approval, notify HPD and be aware that may cause your subsidy to be at risk. HPD cannot pay subsidy prior to an approved move date on the HAP contract. Now that you have viewed the briefing, the next step is to return the certification of Move Briefing completion form. Questions and resources. If you have any questions, contact HPD's Client Services or Move Unit. You'll also find helpful links and forms on HPD's website. Thank you for attending, and we wish you a smooth and successful move.